color class is here to teach instead of just saying, oh, you will be dumped into here. Here's a generic palette. You can probably get away with most of these colors, but not all of them. Welcome back to Color Class. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda. The Four Seasons system, when it came out, the book that was written on it, it was genius. And it changed people's lives.
It did, yes.
But that was 50 years ago, give or take. And things have happened in those 50 years. There have been some developments. And if you only give yourself the four seasons in terms of your palette, we believe you're being shortchanged. And we're going to show you how, in fact, that is. Now, let me be clear. Everything we do here at Color Class, it starts with the four seasons.
Yes, it does.
But we go ever so much further.
I feel like I need a buzzer just in case. I'm like worried about you. I'm like, yes.
Well,
I'm just waiting for like craziness
no,
to erupt.
I figure the oboe is going to come anytime.
As I kick you under the table.
Something like that.
Starting off, we're going to start off with autumn. We're going to show you what a typical four-season palette looks like. The problem is, starting off with autumn, I am in autumn, and most of the colors in the autumn palette do not work for me. Can I wear orange pumpkins? No, I look crazy. So, what do I need? I need a softer palette that kind of dulls it down a little bit.
Could that be a soft autumn?
Yes, and that's the key. While no, I cannot wear a typical autumn palette. And if I look at a typical autumn palette, what? Like a couple of these colors would be good for me? Yes, but the rest, not good at all. And I feel like when we do our color analysis, we have to explain that. Just because you were told, oh, you were in autumn, you were spring, summer, winter, does not mean you can just go blindly with that palette, because there's going to be shades that do not work, because the Four Seasons palette, that autumn palette, is filled with deep autumn, it's filled with soft autumn, it's filled with warm autumn, it's filled with clear autumn shades.
So it's all over the place in the typical autumn palette. Or, you know, if you were to buy a fan or if you were whatever. It just gives a smattering of each of those characteristics. But you are not a smattering of those characteristics. You have a dominant characteristic, and that's the second part. When we do our color analysis, we move into the dominant characteristic because it refines your colors to make them more about you. And Sarah said that she can wear the soft autumn, but there are people out there who have Sarah's red hair, only redder, and they might have greener eyes, and their skin tone might be more golden. Well, what would they be? They wouldn't be a typical autumn. They would be a warm autumn because all of their characteristics combine to read warm. Their palette would look warmer than Sarah's soft autumn palette.
They could wear those oranges and those apricots and things like that. Unlike me, which is a little bit too intense for me.
And then typically there are deep autumns. Darker hair than Sarah, warm, maybe a deeper skin tone, maybe deeper eyes, maybe brown eyes. That palette changes too to honor the deeper eyes, the deeper hair, and the deeper skin tone. Because if you look at all and you'd think autumn is an autumn is an autumn, right? Right? Red hair or warm hair, deep. And that should be it, right? But it's not. There's such a range. Warm, soft, deep. And lately, we have launched a clear autumn because we were seeing with our clients that there are clear autumns.
Right.
So can we talk about my season?
Yes, I am scrolling to the summer palette.
Yay. I'm a summer. But I don't wear the summer palette. The typical summer palette, if I were to go buy a fan or whatever, and I know I'm a summer because I'm light and I'm cool.
Right.
I don't wear it. You know what I wear? I wear soft summer palette, where all of these colors on the summer palette have been muted down just a little bit. As a summer, I could have been a light if my hair was much lighter, skin tone light, eye color light, and that would have been even different than the summer palette. Clear? Yes, there is a clear summer, and that's even more different. and a cool summer. If your hair is cool, your eyes are cool, your skin tone is cool, you fit beautifully in the cool summer, but the cool summer doesn't match the typical summer palette. But what we discovered is if we took a few colors out of clear, we took a few colors out of light, we took a few colors out of cool, we took a few out of soft, plopped them into, that would be what people are calling the summer palette. But that's not good enough for you. That's not good enough for anybody, any human. It's just not good enough because there are facets to us that go so far beyond light to deep, warm to cool.
Yes. Now, since we're talking summers, we might as well switch over to spring and stay light. Again, springs, they're supposed to be warm and clear. Typically, that's what your typical warm, light, and clear.
Yes.
But what we're talking about is we brought in a soft spring because surprisingly, we've also had a lot of soft spring color analysis because those people, when we've done them, what happens? They say, yeah, I was told I was spring, but I can't wear those pure colors. I can't wear those bright shades.
I will never forget, and this is what really drove it home for me. There was a lady on our Patreon page, a darling woman. She's still there, I guess. And so, well, I didn't mean to say she was. Anyway, she was talking to us, Lucy, and she said, you know, my mom is just, she's as spring as spring can be. She's like a warm spring. And she's got all this color. But when I try to wear her clothes, I look all grayed out. And Lucy was warm, but she was also soft. She was warm and soft and light. Well, we had to put her in soft spring. And usually people say, oh, there's no such thing as a soft spring. But there is. What has pushed us so far into these customized programs is because people come to us because they don't fit. They feel like it was never right. I just, you know, I got today we were talking to somebody and she said, I had my colors done and they just never felt right. And I could tell the lady who did them was struggling and she had to call somebody and ask questions. And she said, it was never right for me. And we figured out why when we did our color analysis. She was a soft winter.
Yep. And those key differences of palettes that aren't typical within the 12 palette system even then. Because today she said they put her in a bunch of clear, contrasty winter colors because winters are supposed to be high contrast. They're supposed to be clear.
I think they put her in the typical winter palette, which is really clear.
Yes, you know, winters are supposed to be jewel tones. They're supposed to be these vibrant, but what about a soft winter? What about somebody who is deep and soft? So that's why we need to create these palettes built for individuals who do not fit into the typical seasons.
Because even the Four Seasons palette it's not typical. What's happened, we see, is that there's a little bit of clear in the winter palette, a little bit of deep in the winter palette, a little bit of cool in the winter palette, and a little bit of soft. But there's no human on the planet who is all of these things in equal proportions. It's just a near to. It's just as close as possible. But there is much more possible than with just the Four Seasons.
And that's why we push so hard, because you can adjust yourself to be other things as well. So can a soft winter wear something that's a little bit more jewel tone? Absolutely. We just have to push that clarity up. And that's why color class is here to teach, instead of just saying, oh, you'll be dumped into here. Here's a generic palette. You can probably get away with most of these colors, but not all of them.
But they don't tell you what you can't wear because you just spent $50 on a palette. And so you're faced with having to figure it out. Well, I can wear maybe 4 of these colors, and then you go shopping. And you walk into a store and you find a style you like, and you find an outfit you like, and the price is right, and you hold up those handful of colors that you know you can wear. There's nothing in those colors, which, you know, we've solved the problem with our custom color portfolios by creating a color landscape, a colorscape that's all of your colors, and then you can figure out what flows and what hovers above, and works beautifully. But bottom line, if you only know your 4-season designation, You owe it to yourself to figure yourself out in the 16 palette system.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to say we need like 24 palette system
In
case you're neutral, because we didn't talk about neutrality.
You should go ahead.
Yes, if you are neutral, if you are somebody who also has a mixed features, somebody with really warm skin tone but cool black hair, that is a mixed feature. Obviously, if you're dressing for your skin tone or your hair, those can be different things. So we have a soft neutral palette. We have a light neutral palette now. We have a clear and deep palette. We have a deep and neutral palette. So we have all of these palettes that put people into a more exact space. Instead of feeling like, oh, it just doesn't work out for me. No, we created palettes for everyone in every skin tone as well. That was another key component here at Color Class is the Four Seasons we know was built for Northern European women. So we know that it was not an inclusive system. Can we fit into those systems? No, we don't even fit into those systems. So we knew something needed to be done. I was always seeing people, oh my gosh, what is her? Megan Good. We used her, or Tracy Ellis Ross as well for our clear and deep palette. I would always see people online put them into spring. And I understand, because you need the contrast and you also need the warmth for their skin, but springs cannot wear like a rich cobalt blue, which looks fantastic on Tracy Ellis Ross, for example. So there needed to be more inclusivity in color analysis that was addressing skin tone and hair and eye color together. So that's why it was such a critical thing that we were realizing doesn't have a place in color analysis until we start expanding these palettes and creating something that is more inclusive.
Absolutely. And one of the things that has really prompted us to expand and really embrace everyone is Patreon.
Yes.
We have so many people on Patreon, and they're sending photos, and there's so much chatter going on that we had to open a Discord channel for our Patreon, because all this color talk, all sorts of, really smart color talk. And it's been eye-opening, to say the least.
It's good to have the challenge.
And if there's one thing that we want you to get out of this video, you've watched it, and we're sorry if it's too long, but the bottom line is, understand that if you've only examined yourself in the context of Four Seasons, you have left part of yourself behind, and we don't want you to do that. Look it up. Join Patreon. Watch more of our videos. There's more of you to love and show off.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you would like any of the links, I know we talked about palettes, we talked about Patreon. If you want to join us anywhere, we also have tools available on our website. Links are in the description below. Now, do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, because here on YouTube, that is how we are able to keep doing all of these things that we talk about. So don't forget to subscribe. Lastly, I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
This has been another Color Class, and we'll see you in our next video.